Today's article begins by saying another popular dish created during wartime is budae jjigae.
Budae jjigae.
My Korean is not great.
I like budae jjigae.
In fact, I don't speak it at all, so I hope I'm saying that right.
But I eat it.
But I do eat Korean food. Yes, Korean food. It's it's usually quite spicy, which I enjoy.
It's a lot of meat.
It's a lot of meat involved, which I enjoy. Now, it's a soup that contains a mix of American and Korean ingredients.
That's right.
It contains something. If something contains something, it means it has things inside of it. So we often talk about dishes containing different things, and they contain ingredients. Ingredients are the different things that go into food. Like you're making cookies, so you need, flour, water, sugar, butter, milk, all those kinds of things. Those are all ingredients, but this contains a mix of American and Korean ingredients. So does this go back to like the the Korean War?
The Korean War, 1951 to
53,
50
to 53, early 1950s.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Let's say that. So this was a time when the United States went over to kind of intervene in the war between what later became North and South Korea.
That's right. The United Nations went over, America, Britain, but many other countries, to fight North Korea and not China. China was not there. They weren't fighting there.
That's what they say.
They were. Yes, they were. Anyways, it was a long, ugly, and ultimately very depressing war. It went on for a long time. A lot of people died, and nothing happened. North and South Korea are still there.
And they're still at war.
They still don't really like each other. They're still at war.
Technically.
But we got some good food out of it. So
Hooray.
that was one of the best things that happened from the Korean War. And budae jjigae is probably one of the more well-known, very popular today. I like eating it during the winter. It's a great big meal to warm you up because there's so much good stuff inside. Let's have a look at some of these ingredients that budae jjigae might contain. It says this includes items like hot dogs, spam, kimchi, and gochujang.
Gochujang. That thing.
I will gochujang.
Okay,
Thank you.
yes, gochujang.
Thank you. I went to Jang.
Oh, good.
Yes.
How was it?
It was delicious.
Excellent.
Yeah, so you throw all of this stuff into a pot, basically. As they said, it's like a soup, and there's all sorts of wonderful things. If you like meat, there's the spam and the hot dogs. The spiciness, of course, comes from the kimchi, but that's not all.
That's not all. It says quite often, instant noodles, vegetables, and American cheese
I did that.
will be tossed in the pot to spice up the dish.
It's true.
Instant here. Instant means right away. It just happens right now. Instant noodles, of course, are noodles that you can make very quickly. You have the noodles, you have your boiling water, put them together, it's ready to eat.
And if you're thirsty, maybe you want some instant coffee.
Instant coffee, it's just the powder that you put in your
Dry
hot
coffee.
water. Instant coffee. So we often talk about instant foods, foods that you can make very, very quickly.
Sure.
But if something happens in an instant, it just means it happens very, very quickly, right away. So you can have instant noodles, vegetables, American cheese. We toss them in the pot. Toss means kind of to throw something, kind of without care for where it goes. Well, in this case, you want it to go in the pot.
Absolutely.
It just means to put something in the pot.
Yes. Now, American cheese, you don't actually say, hey, cheese, where are you from? America? Okay, you can go in
Wisconsin.
there. No, it's not that kind of cheese. It's that orange cheese that you put on hamburgers, right? It's sort of cheese. It's also some other things, but it's very, very cheap. So you can throw it or toss it into the pot to spice up the dish. When we spice things up, we make them more exciting. In this case, we also make it more flavorful, more delicious. So it's not just boring old noodles and soup. It's much more exciting than that. And it says, yes, budae jjigae was invented in Seoul during the Korean War.
There we go.
All right, so the soldiers are busy fighting. They don't have time or even a place to go and have a delicious meal. They have to make it where they are. And the name means army stew in Korean. So there you go. It's an army stew. What is a stew? It's basically like a very thick soup. With a stew, you might not chop everything up very, very small. You might throw in, squares of carrot and chunks of beef and cook it all for a very long time so all the flavors mix together. It's simple, it's cheap because you can throw in anything, but it's very warm and filling and something soldiers would love to have, especially in freezing North Korea or South Korea during the war.
That's right. We often describe stew as being very hearty.
Hearty?
Hearty just means, it's a nice big meal. It fills you up. It's good food to make you feel kind of strong and full.
And you can make it in one pot.
You can make it in a pot, it's easy to make.
Yep.
Now, during the war, there wasn't enough food, so Koreans had to eat whatever was available. Yes, as we've discussed, food often becomes very scarce or rare.
Yeah.
During wartime, it's not easy to get because, of course, people are fighting everywhere. It's dangerous to go outside and, farms get destroyed because of all the bombs dropping and the soldiers trampling over everything. So there's less food, so you have to kind of make do with what you have. You kind of just take everything, you say, okay, we've got a bunch of random ingredients, what can we make? And they just try to make something out of all these random different things.
Absolutely. The people really did suffer in Korea during this terrible war. But what they would do is, it says they would combine leftovers from the U.S. Army with local food. So they would get foods from the American soldiers when they had extra. They might eat the food that the soldiers in the American Army bases hadn't finished. And then, of course, that wouldn't be enough for all of the poor, starving Korean people, so they'd combine it or they'd mix it together with local foods. That's where the kimchi and the gochujang, that's where that comes from. So find some Korean vegetables, get a little bit of American meat, throw it all together, and hopefully then you will have enough food for yourself. Yeah, to combine is to mix things together. If you have a cup of coffee and you put in some milk and some sugar, you don't just drink it right away. No, of course, you get a spoon and you mix it or you combine it all together so it becomes one new thing where everything is all mixed up. And leftovers, well, that's the food that is left over when you haven't finished your food. If you order a big pizza at night, you might have a few pieces left over. So you'd say, hey, do you want to have pizza leftovers for lunch tomorrow? And everyone would say, yay! Because that way you don't throw away food and you eat the food that you didn't finish earlier.
That's right. You don't want to be wasteful with the food and throw it out.
No.
You save it in the fridge, you can enjoy it later.
Yep.
Now, although the war ended long ago, budae jjigae remains a hot item in South Korea.
Yeah.
If something remains, it means it is still there. It's hanging around. So we're going back to the early 1950s when this was invented. But it remains today. It's still there in South Korea, and it's a hot item. If something is a hot item, it doesn't mean literally like it's hot, 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 hot. You can't touch it. It just means that it is popular.
Yes.
It's a lot of people still want it. In this case, people will still order it at restaurants. It's still available to get, or people might still even make it at home, okay?
Yeah, sure.
In other words, it's an item that sells very well. A hot item is our shortcut for you for today, so let's take a closer look at this phrase.